following on from core values objectives, what are the current and future initiatives with Women in Fire Engineering?
Well, so far, my amazing committee of 11, we meet every month, and I have done events and initiatives to cover the 3 aims. So again, support, develop and inspire. So in terms of support, we currently have a group LinkedIn page, and that's free to join for anybody. And I want to thank Nicola Thorne, who does an amazing job of keeping that going. So that's our sort of current comms channel, if you like, this group LinkedIn page.
If somebody's looking for that on LinkedIn, it's Women in Fire Engineering?
Yes, if you look up Women in Fire Engineering, you will find us.
And you can join and follow.
Yep, you can join. Yeah, absolutely. Request, and then we'll accept you, and you can join. So if you're a woman in the industry, or equally if you're a male ally and you want to support what we're doing, we'd be delighted to.
I love the phrase ally.
Yeah.
I feel quite empowered by being. I think it was Fiona that we did an interview with her at FireX, and she said that she was talking to myself and Max, and she said that we were ASFP were male, myself and Max were male allies, and I think we felt quite empowered.
Excellent.
Quite empowered by that.
I'm pleased to hear that. And then in terms of development, we run monthly webinars, and they tend to either be technical or inspirational. So we've just had one from Alex Johnson. She spoke to us. She's a retired Chief Fire Officer from South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service. That was a great presentation she gave last week, I think. And then the next one we've got is on the Mati wildfires in Greece, and that's going to be a UCLan lecturer, Eleni Asim-Makapoulou, who's going to give us that lecture in December this month. And then we've also run professional membership workshops. So the application forms for some professional memberships are pretty tricky. And what we've done is we've brought together a cohort of people who are interested in, I don't know, going for graduate or going for members or whatever level. And then we've cut the task up, and we do it once a week as a group. Okay, this week we're going to do this section together. And it just helps people and sort of encourages them and cuts the elephant up into bite-sized chunks, really, I suppose. And then the last section is inspire. So it's surprising, really. We found that the large expos have been really, really keen to partner with us. They really wanted to find more diversity amongst their speakers, and they didn't know where to look. So we came along and they were like, "Oh, please, can we partner with you?" We've just spent 2 days at London Build, like you have, and there it's a really good model. We provide speakers and hosts for, in that case, the fire safety stage, and then we have a stand, and that allows us to promote the group. We've got a very nice photograph of us at London Build at our stand meeting Timmy Mallet, who you will know who Timmy Mallet is.
I am of the age demographic that unfortunately does remember Timmy Mallet. Yes.
I have memories of watching Timmy Mallet and his pink mallet, absolutely.
I have to say his foam mallet that he was sporting at London Build was significantly smaller than I remember seeing it on the telly in the 1980s. So maybe it's just got smaller over time. I'm not sure.
But, we also took a photograph at London Build. There was a huge, great big yellow deck chair. And I encouraged some of the other women in the group to come and have a photograph. And I did a LinkedIn post about that with the image. It was a really good photograph, actually. And, this is what fire engineers, fire risk assessors and board members of the IFE look like. Because, it's true, and we need to get that message across that, this is what we do as a career. What we're really trying to do is inspire the next generation and also inspire the existing women in the industry to progress their careers. You know, yes, you can apply to be a board member. Yes, you can apply to be a member of the IFE, or, you know, a member of another professional institution with a capital M. Yes, you can, you know, go forward and progress through your career. You know, what we're trying to do is sort of the adage of, if you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah.
So if we're out there and more visible, then we hope sort of we promote that visibility of women in the industry, and also increasing the diversity of the speakers and the panel members. Again, that whole diversity of thought piece. And then next, we're going to provide hosts and speakers for Fire Buyer Live. That's an online conference next March. Then we'll be doing the fire safety event and FireX again.
So fire safety events, Birmingham NEC.
Yes.
And that's in April. April, Max is nodding at me. I should actually have the 2023 ASFP mouse mat in front of me, which has got all of the significant dates on it. But anyway, I haven't. But it was a lucky guess. So yeah, I mean, we're going to be Women in Fire Engineering, and ASFP will be at all of those significant events. I think ASFP is doing Construction Week at Birmingham as well. So that's a fourth. So we've got two in the spring and 2 in the autumn, effectively for next year. I think it's good that the organisers support these organisations. I mean, you know, we're very, what the model you described is very similar to us. You know, we have the pavilion around the ASFP pavilion. There's a lot of the ASFP members. Because we're there, we attract a lot of our members, and that's where the organisers sort of, that's why it's value adding to the organisers, because it's the members paid for stand space. We run the Passive Fire Theatre at Fire Safety event. And also something that you're familiar with, or we've spoken about, is the new ASFP mobile training trailer, which we're hoping to feature at your event in February next year. Yes. which we'll come on to in a little bit. So because we'll talk about sort of the next things that you're doing. But in terms of professional bodies, you're just talking about how you support your members to join, because some of the application processes for things like CABE and the IFE and the RICS is quite lengthy and can be quite intimidating to some people who
Engineering Council as well.
Engineering Council as well, yeah. And I do remember I'm a member of CABE, but I'm a lowly associate member, unlike yourself, who is significantly higher up the organogram than myself. But I, myself and a past president, Mike Wadood, who is, hello Mike, by the way. Hello Mike. Who's an old friend of mine. We've worked very closely together for probably the past sort of 15 years or so. He was very much looking, during his presidency, he was very much looking to increase the I use the word loosely, but the diversity of membership. He was looking for people to join CABE that maybe hadn't thought they could or needed to join CABE. And he was looking to broaden membership outside of what were possibly the sort of traditional trades or professions that would join CABE. And I think that's where I sort of learnt some quite early lessons on how associations can develop and support its members on developing a more modernist and, like you say, a more diverse thinking by getting people to actually realise, well, I never thought I could, because it's interesting, because passive fire, we're all sitting in we're here in the ASFP office, and it's full of people who I can guarantee you would never have turned around to their careers officer at college or university and say, well, do you know what? I want to work in the passive fire industry and I'm not going to do anything else. Because none of us knew what the passive fire industry was 10, 15, 20 or even 30 years ago. No. So I think it's that diversity of thought is about actually getting people to realise they can join or be part of something that maybe they never thought they needed until they actually then start to experience being part of it.
Or that they can attain it. I think, if you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah.
So, here are women on the IFE board. Here are chartered members or incorporated members, incorporated engineers. Here are fellows of the IFE who are women. Here are registered fire risk assessors who are women. I think, you know, that's the bit that I'm keen to utilise is we've got those role models, if you like, now, and it's making sure that they're visible to other women to give them that role model.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's highlighting the opportunity, or it's highlighting how you access these things, because quite a lot of people, if you talk to people that say, well, you know, I didn't do this or I didn't do that, it's not that they couldn't, it's that they couldn't work out how to access to get into it, to get into an organisation, get into an institution. You know, how do I break in? You know, to these things, and I think that's, if we can enable that through, you know, us sitting here over, you know, ASFP coffee, and did you bring in those treats, by the way?
I did.
Excellent, thank you, Andrea. We'll eat those.
Welcome.
We'll eat those later, Max. You know, as we sit here sort of drinking ASFP coffee and talking about these things, we're hoping that people watch these and ASFP members think, well, actually, it would be great for us to engage with this organisation, or female employees of our members want to engage with you because they're looking for possible future support or career development. And, you know, being a part of a professional body or an association and working your way through that is part of a career path. You know, we had our council elections earlier this year, and we're proud to say that we've actually got, out of 9 council members, 2 of those are now women. And, you know, that again, it wasn't engineered, because you can't engineer member votes for people to join council, because, you know, that's not how voting for someone to be part of a trade association council works. So we're really pleased that, you know, we've encouraged women to apply for council, but B, the voting membership thought of them high enough to give them more votes than the other, you know, people that, you know, had also put themselves forward.
I'm really pleased that you say that about encouraging, because that's what I find, is that, you know, as a generality, women are highly competent and would make great whatever it is we're looking at, board members or whatever, but they don't put themselves forward. And when you suggest it to them, they look at you and go, what, me? You know, and there's that adage, isn't there? You know, how many of the job criteria do men have to meet in order to think, I'll have a go at that? And how many do women have to meet? And for women, it's something like they have to feel that they meet 95% of a job criteria. And for men, it's far, far less. I mean, I want to say 50%, you know, before they'll even apply for a job. So if we don't encourage them, then the likelihood of them ever applying is much, much lower. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I agree. And recruitment is an interesting challenge for everybody that recruits. I've spent years recruiting various teams, and quite often you recruit a job, and there is a job description, and there's a roles and responsibilities and all that sort of stuff. And then you start the interview process, and then all of a sudden you meet somebody as part of that interview process, and you think, well, actually, that person could do a completely different job, and that job may not even exist. You may have thought about it as a business or a recruiter, but until you meet that person, you don't often know. And I probably modified my recruitment style not to stick to the script, a bit like my podcasts really, not to stick to the script of the job scope so much, but actually to look at the individual and say, well, actually, where would they fit in? And where they would fit in, that job may not even...
I think you raise an important point, though, in terms of any sort of interview. There's no point in having that interview if the person being interviewed can't demonstrate their best self.
No.
And I think, you know, the better interviewers are the ones who can appreciate that and who self-reflect and who provide an environment in which that candidate can provide their best self, can demonstrate themselves in the best way possible. Because, you know, we all perhaps need different adaptations. You know, do you need to be more encouraging, or do you need to, you know, ask questions, or do you need to, you know, consider who's on the panel in front of you? You know, I mean, we've all been in front of, you know, 3 people who look exactly the same, who are stony faced and not giving you any feedback, you know, from body language. You know, does that allow me to give my best self in the interview? Possibly not, you know. So I think it's a good point that you raised, that I would really like to see interviewers being more mindful and having as an objective, how can I make this interviewee feel comfortable enough to demonstrate themselves to the best of their ability.
Yeah, so next year, so we're now on the 1st of December,
yes.
So where did 2022 go is a question, but you don't have to answer that. It's a rhetorical question, probably to myself more than anything. Next year, you've got your first Women in Fire Engineering live event. Is it fair to say?
We have. So
okay.
It's our first in-person conference.
Yep.
I've been in the industry over 20 years. I'm not aware of one ever happening in that time. So you can imagine I'm pretty excited. It's being held near Winchester in Hampshire, and it's being held on the 9th of February. Again, we want to support, develop and inspire our delegates in line with our aims. But I will say that absolutely everyone is welcome. You know, we're not trying to pigeonhole this for women necessarily. I'm really excited. She's one of my heroes, and I'm absolutely delighted that she said yes. We've got a keynote speech by Dr. Barbara Lane. So I'm genuinely excited about that, because I've watched her, you know, in the Grenfell inquiry and really been inspired by her. So you know, really looking forward to that. And then, you know, going back to what we talked about earlier, the focus of the day really is about sort of presence and self-promotion, because it's one of the things that generally women are not quite so good at. You know, what we tried to do is put forward an agenda, a series of presentations for the day that offer some guidance and some training on things like we've got Mel Stanley talking about personal branding and making an impact. We've got Sarah Pardo-Flay. She's talking about assertiveness and confidence. And then we've got the amazing Sarah Farmer. She's talking about influencing skills. You know, women don't generally, overconfidence is really a major female failing. And you know, that means we don't self-promote, and that can leave us sort of unseen and undervalued really. And what the aim of this this conference is to try and overcome some of those barriers, if you like. I have to do a bit of a plug. So we have a headline sponsor that is Hydrock, and the ASFP has very kindly been one of our earliest sponsors, so yes, thank you for
pleasure.
That. We are very excited that you are bringing the trailer.
If we can get it in the car park.
You can get it in the car park.
Excellent.
Yes. It's
a big trailer, everybody. We do have, the first question we ask when we turn up with the trailer is how big is the car park? And for those of you attending that or the fire safety event or FireX, you'll understand the logistical challenge of the ASFP learning trailer. And we should have, we will have some demonstration stuff, because the trailer is designed to accommodate VR training.
Which is virtual reality.
Virtual reality.
Right.
So it's those things where you sort of put the goggles on.
Right.
Yeah. So we're bringing passive fire training into a whole different dimension, which is VR, and we're currently writing some of the content for that as we sit here now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just need to also mention some other sponsors, because we have had so much support. I didn't even know that people would support us. It's been so heartening to mention the conference, and for organisations to come up to me and say, how can we support you? So that's been absolutely lovely. So I must say thank you in advance to Apollo Fire Detectors, Cranford Controls, Arup, Checkmate Fire Solutions, who
ASFP
I
members,
know you
yes.
will know, and also Nick Venables at the New Build database.
Yeah.
So it's a huge thank you to them. The fact that they're willing to support us says to me that, what we're doing is a good thing, which is so if people are interested in the conference, 9th of February, Winchester, Hampshire. We launched the tickets 3 weeks ago, and they are selling fast. We've only got 180 of them. So you can get your ticket on Eventbrite if you put in Women in Fire Engineering Conference Winchester.
So what we could do, and Max is good at this, we can put in, I can do this, and hopefully Max will drop something in. What we can do is probably throw up a few little panels.
I even have a QR code.
Excellent.
So maybe Max could put a QR code right between us.
We can do a QR code.
How would that be?
We can even throw up some little squares with the logos of your sponsors, like
that would be amazing.
Apollo, which of course are active fire, not passive, but we won't
about that.
We won't hold that against them. I'm sure they're all lovely people. It's been lovely to talk to you, Andrea, and thank you for coming in and going into some significant depth about obviously yourself and women in fire engineering and how you're looking to support women in our industry. Long may it continue, and we're happy to support you through it. The ASFP is committed to developing and supporting our members with, I'm trying to think of another phrase than diversity and inclusion, because I always feel it's a bit sort of, not contrived, but I'm trying to think of another word or the sort of, to say actually it's the norm, not something that you should sort of throw into a pigeonhole.
Yeah, and to be honest, Mike, I would love for us not to be needed.
Yeah.
That's my goal, is for groups like our networking group not to be needed, where there isn't a need for women's groups. So you're absolutely right. I don't think we're there yet, but that's my ultimate aim, is that we can have a group that doesn't differentiate. That would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I do remember somebody saying to me many years ago, when I advanced into a role that sort of meant I was on the board of a business, and I was at the Institute of Directors, and this guy wandered up to me and he said, I'll give you one piece of advice, Mike. The best directors make themselves redundant. Yeah. But we're not quite finished yet, so we're not going anywhere. Anyway, so it's been lovely to see you. Thank you for coming in. I hope you've enjoyed the experience of coming into ASFP TV.
Absolutely, yes, it has been enlightening and almost enjoyable.
Enjoyable. Yes. And the one thing I would say is, obviously, anybody that feels that they have a desperate desire to come and meet myself and Max or even Reese and drink coffee and talk about whatever they want to talk about, you can always drop us a note because we're happy to talk to you. As long as it's generally sort of applicable to our industry, cuddly toys and the virtues of, those is probably not our core subject matter. That's probably for a different association. There probably actually is an association for cuddly toys somewhere. We'll have to look at TAF website. So if you need to come in again, happy to see you. We'll see you in February.
Yes.
We can probably have a chat in Feb, actually. We can do a little interview in the ASFP trailer.
Brilliant.
I don't know what the acoustics are like in the ASFP trailer. We've not done an interview in it yet, so you'll have to be one of our guinea pigs. And then obviously we'll be at Fire Safety and at the usual shows. And I would implore any of our members, please engage with women in fire engineering. And if you are a lady who is an employee of an ASFP member, engage as well. We're happy to support you with women in fire engineering to improve your career prospects within our industry, because that's actually what we're here to facilitate on your behalf as members. Lovely to see you.